Hi, kia ora, and welcome to the Creative Matters podcast, where we have really inspiring conversations with artists living in and from Aotearoa, New Zealand. I'm your host, Mandy Yarkic. Hi there, and welcome back to the podcast. Lovely to have you with me. This episode is very generously and very kindly sponsored by the Mandarin Tree Gallery. The Mandarin Tree is a unique and vibrant art gallery which is located in Gordonton, which is in the Waikato, just north of Hamilton. Owner and gallery curator Claudia Elderink, who I actually spoke to in episode 161, she started the gallery in 2014 to establish a creative hub for New Zealand art and New Zealand-based artists. The gallery has evolved and grown over the years and proudly represents a very talented group of artists from all over Aotearoa. The Mandarin Tree offers a relaxed experience with a large variety of original artwork and curated gifts. The garden at the back, which sounds gorgeous, holds many beautiful garden art pieces. Gordonton Village is a very vibrant hub offering a variety of shops and places to eat and relax. And I actually have never been there and can't wait to get down to visit the Mandarin Tree. Ngā mihi nui, thank you very much, Claudia and the Mandarin Tree Gallery for supporting us with this episode. This week I'm speaking to the lovely Isaac Weston. He's a full-time copper artist based in Matua, Tauranga, Aotearoa, New Zealand. Isaac's creative process is a unique blend of artistry and alchemy, combining acids, salts and sunlight to reveal the hidden beauty of copper. This approach allows him to bring out light, shadow, texture and vibrant patinas, showcasing the organic elegance of the metal. I really loved talking to Isaac in my studio at Muriwai. We explore his past careers and how he came to be a full-time artist 8 years ago in his 40s. He explains how copper became his medium of choice, what inspired him in the beginning to make, and what gave him the confidence and impetus to keep going in the early days. Isaac shares how he has developed his art practice to become a successful, sustainable career through diversification, the creation of his own garden and art gallery with the support of his lovely wife Lara, connecting with gallerists and community groups, building relationships and putting himself out there as much as possible. We go deep into his fascinating creative process, how he sources and reuses railway sleepers and copper, his process for creating patinas on his copper works. We also talk about how he comes up with designs and his cutting and connecting processes. He shares how he visualizes work in his mind before he comes to make it, often when he should be sleeping. I can relate to that. And he talks about ways he has created tools and developed techniques over the years through perseverance, problem solving, and modification. We talk about why he has decided to market his work under 2 brands, how he manages deadlines, how he's learnt to say no over the years, and the way he manages his show pony and peacock tendencies. And we also touch on tricky topics like people copying his work and cultural appropriation. Isaac's enthusiasm and passion for what he does is infectious, and his entrepreneurial approach to his work is very inspiring. You are going to love this chat. Hi, Isaac.
Hi, Mandy. How you doing?
I am so good, thank you. Welcome to Muriwai and to the podcast.
Thank you. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's amazing to have you here. I know that you've got a beautiful garden in Tauranga. So I was very conscious. I almost wanted to get out there and do a bit of extra gardening.
No, yours is amazing and so rustic with all of the nikau and everything. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah, thank you. We love it too, so much. So you've come up from Tauranga and you've had a weekend in Waiheke with your lovely wife, Lara.
Yes, lovely. Beautiful weekend over there.
Yeah, it looked amazing, what I saw on Instagram. So, and then it just worked out well that you were delivering artworks and doing other things and you could come and visit Muriwai.
Yeah, no, it's perfect. We're staying in the brand new Sky City Hotel where we've managed to get they bought some artworks last year, so we're visiting that and then doing 3 or 4 deliveries to customers. So it's worked out a really good weekend. Yeah.
That's perfect, and so nice to have you in the flesh.
Yes.
In the studio, which is in sort of the middle of some major art making in preparation for our Muriwai Artists Collective
nice.
Open Studios, which is next month. Just a little plug there.
It's looking fantastic, and you've got a collection of rings, so I'm sure there's something for everyone as well, which will be
hopefully.
perfect.
Yeah. So let's just talk about Tauranga to start with.
Yep.
The garden that you have your gallery at and that Lara and you sort of put together is absolutely stunning. And we'll talk more about that later. But you've got obviously a really beautiful property near the water in Matua.
Yeah, right on the water. We never ever thought we'd own a property on the water, but as it was when we bought down there 15 years ago, the property prices were affordable, and we managed to get a real beautiful property on the water, so it's really cool.
It's so beautiful. And then you've transformed it into this gorgeous garden.
Yes, yeah, it was a blank canvas. There was no garden, no decks. I've built 7 or 8 decks around the property. It had a few issues when we bought it, so it had been on the market for 2 years, so we got it for a bit of a steal. But now it's looking spectacular. And my wife Lara, she's a plant guru, so she's planted a food forest. We've got every different fruit and vegetable to eat, which is amazing.
How incredible. Yeah, as I said earlier to you, I am desperate to come and visit.
Yes,
it looks so beautiful.
You're more than welcome.
Yeah, and we'll talk about the gallery there later. So you were born in Christchurch and ended up in Tauranga.
Yes. 18 years ago, we moved down from Auckland to Tauranga, so change of lifestyle and came down there.
Nice.
Yep.
So I know that you were a chef before you were an artist, which is a really interesting combination of careers. Can you tell us a little bit about what kind of child you were, and if you were showing creative signs as a youngster?
Yeah, I've always been creative. I love art. Thinking about it when we started discussing this, I've always been surrounded by art, and it's one of those things that I kind of took for granted. I had an auntie who was an artist, and she did really, really well. She she was international and selling stuff. So I was lucky to see artists that could actually make a career out of it and do really well. I didn't know that there were struggling artists when I was growing up as a kid. I just thought every artist owned a huge mansion on Northcote Point, and that was how it was done. But over the years, I've met so many others, artists that have had an amazing career. But yeah, obviously selling art is something that not every artist can do.
Yeah.
My dad is creative, so he's a clothes designer. He's worked for New Zealand Ballet and Australian opera and ballet and Colette Denningen.
Yeah, I
and
know
Liz
them.
Mitchell. Yeah, so he's always painted. So he's very artistic. Mum's an amazing chef, so I kind of had that from both sides. And my sister, she's painted her whole life as well. So yeah, I've always been arty. I think one of my earliest memories was sitting around my nana's table and everyone saying how amazing the colouring in I'd done was, and I was just surprised I managed to get it all in the lines. That was all I was trying to do. So I don't know if it was good or not. That's just an early memory.
Yeah, it's funny how that kind of thing stays with you, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I had an artist for a nana, for a grandma, but
yeah,
she never really encouraged me. I don't think she could see a lot of talent in me, which probably was true.
If only they knew. Yeah.
I was a bit of a late bloomer, I think, but I'm sure that if she'd sat me down and really kind of said, "You are amazing. Oh my gosh, look, try this, do that," that would have made a difference, because my parents weren't very arty.
Right.
And
yeah.
didn't really encourage that kind of thinking either.
Yeah. I guess it's one of those things where you give a kid some crayons or pencils to shut them up, and that was probably what it was. I had locks of red curly hair, and I was pretty full on. I wasn't allowed any red ice blocks. I would race around the house like a maniac. So
really?
Yeah, I could always remember my pop on the other side going, "Hold your horses, hold your horses."
Oh, that's so cute. I can just imagine. So at high school, were you taking art and sort of discovering your talent there?
Yeah, so I realised, well, I loved art. I took art right through high school, and kind of that was my hideaway, was to get away to the art department, mostly because I wasn't very good at maths or sciences. I didn't apply myself and spent a lot of time trying to avoid the classes. I got kicked out of maths in fifth form, and as it was, I actually had my girlfriend's older brother at the time tutored me, and I passed with a B1 or 2 or whatever it is. So I was absolutely stoked to actually pass maths, and my maths teacher was horrified because he thought I'd flunked out. So yeah, so I got there in the end, but I'd spent a lot of my time in the art studio. Is it
Art room.
Art room, yeah, sort of hiding away. I wasn't crazily into it. If it was just a nice sort of getaway in a calm environment. So yeah, I enjoyed that. But I probably spent more time lying out in the middle of the field, staring at the clouds.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? High school, it's like I used to wag one period a day.
Oh yeah.
I would sort of work it so that it's like, okay, it's just one period, that's all good.
Yeah.
Like, I can get away with that.
And one would turn into 3. And no, that was me for 100%.
Oh, it's so funny. Yeah. So how did you, were you thinking at all that you might like a creative career like your parents or, the people around you? And what did you actually decide to do after school?
Yeah, no, I didn't even think of art as a career back then. I just thought of it as a way of sort of getting away from the other classes in school, and I enjoyed it, but I didn't really, I did really well. I think I got A plus or A1 or something like that on all of my art boards, but that was fifth form, and then by sixth form I was, as I said before to you, I enjoyed sixth form so much I did it twice, and I failed the first time and failed the second time. So quarter way through it, I just gave up and left and went overseas. And I decided to start working in cafes, washing dishes, and being kitchen hands when I was 15, 16, just as something to do to earn extra money. And then from there, I realised that I was really good in the kitchen and understood, and I think from my mum I understood that I could cook really well. She was a great chef, so yeah, I kind of took that on even at a young age. Yeah.
And that's such a stressful industry.
Yeah, fun though. People say it's not social, but man, the social. After I went overseas for a student exchange for a year to Costa Rica, and when I came back I ended up getting a job at a nightclub called alchemy in K Road, and we had so much fun. It was just hilarious, and because we were part of the K Road sort of clan and crew, everyone looked after everyone. I'd be at a bar and I'd have these amazing huge Samoan transvestites looking after me all night, making sure no one got near Isaac and protected me. So it was cool. I had some great nights. Yeah, some really lots of fun.
I can just imagine. Yeah, K Road is such a great place in Auckland.
Yeah, it was in its prime way back then when we were going to places and Staircase, and Alenka as itself was a really cool club, and I had learnt to salsa and dance and things over in Costa Rica, so for me it was really cool to have that Latin connection.
Yeah, it is really social.
Yeah,
I can imagine it would sort of take its toll after a while, that kind of lifestyle.
Yeah, I couldn't stay there because I was living in Devonport at the time, and so commuting was just crazy. So in the end I gave that up and got a job down on the viaduct in one of the restaurants down there. And,
nice. And was this a career thing for you?
I literally just walked into it. I knew enough about food to be able to wing it. And in Alenka, the head chef there had a bit of a breakdown and just walked out mid-service, and I was the only other chef there, and the owner said, "Can you do this?" And I said, "Yeah, sure." So literally I became head chef, and then from there I just went to different restaurants and worked in Lebanese restaurants, Italian. So every different restaurant, I picked up a different food sort of group, and by the end of it, I had all of this knowledge from different chefs. So and all of these food groups. Yeah, so it's really cool.
Yeah, and I can see you're obviously a guy who can just kind of think, oh, I'm going to do that, which is pretty much how you are with your
it's
your art
like,
practice.
okay, I can do this. Yeah, give it a go.
Which is so good.
Yeah,
it's a great strength to have that kind of outlook. So you were chefing for some time, and you did some travelling as well.
Yes, so chefing for years, went over to London chefing, went over to Melbourne, built some fences, learnt to do that, went over to London chefing, randomly got invited to the opening of a celebrity restaurant that was opening on Richmond Waterfront, and my now wife, Lara, had invited me along, and I when I left Australia, I'd dyed my red hair. Someone had dyed it tiger stripes, so I had black tiger stripes going through it. And so when I turned up in London, it was great when I was in Thailand, but when I turned up in London, I kind of looked like a weird, short little rock star or something. And the barman at this restaurant that had just opened said, are you in movies or acting or a musician? And I said, no, I'm a chef. And he goes, well, come out the back. All of the chefs, we've got a Kiwi. And so I walked out, and the head chef was a Kiwi, and he said, yeah, sweet. You want to start tomorrow? And I'm like, yep, cool. Really? So I did a trial at their other restaurant in Portobello Road, Notting Hill, and got the job straight away, and then ended up just working in these 3 celebrity restaurants that they had. It was insane. It was serving Annie Lennox, Eric Clapton. I didn't know half the celebrities. I knocked Joan Collins on her ass one day when I came barreling out of the loos, and she was like, I haven't been knocked on my ass for 20 years. Really? Yeah, so it's some cool experiences.
Yeah, that would have been.
Yeah.
And you obviously loved that, and you stayed there for a while with your wife.
Yep, so stayed there, then we moved to Mallorca, just with visas. She'd been there a few years on and off before, so couldn't stay there any longer. Moved to Mallorca and then couldn't renew our visas, so we came back to New Zealand. I got a job chefing straight away in Viaduct Harbour when the America's Cup was here. So worked restaurant there, then moved back to Devonport and worked in a couple of cafes there, and by then I was kind of wearing thin of the chefing part. That just wasn't the same level as London, so applied to go and work in a travel agency, and got the job straight away, and that ended up actually being that was 17 years in travel, so it was a long career in travel, and I went from just a consultant to managing different shops, so flight centres. I'd move to different shops. I'd spend a couple of years in each, change the staff and make them profitable. So it was amazing. And for someone that's terrible at maths, having to do all of this mathematical stuff and manage other humans, it was a challenge, but it turned out really well. I made a great career of it. So yeah,
that's amazing.
Yeah, so
I didn't
so it was cool.
That.
Yeah, no, it was a lot of stories and a lot of cool travel, a couple of times a year, educationals and managers conferences and things like that. So yeah, it was cool. It's
amazing.
a great journey, that one.
That's quite an interesting move.
Change.
Yeah, from chefing to that.
It was totally different. All of a sudden I'm having to talk to people as opposed to swearing in the kitchen at other chefs. So
and abusing the waitresses.
and the waitresses. I mean, that was such a cool community, chefing. Like the night community and everything, but all of a sudden I became a sort of a day person and had to set an alarm and wake up and go to work and wear a shirt. It was the first time I'd worn tidy clothes in years.
Yeah,
so it was
quite nice.
Yeah, it was
nice not working in that hot environment.
Yeah, 45 degrees every day in the kitchen, just lean and mean, smoking, drinking. It's quite a different environment.
Yeah,
so
it would be. And then at some point you discovered your artistic side and your art practice. How did that happen?
Well, we moved down to Tauranga. So after, 12 years or so, moved down to Tauranga, and I took over the flight centre down there, and we moved down for a lifestyle change. We were moving down to start a family, and as it was, we found out we couldn't have kids, so we did IVF and found out we couldn't have kids, so ended up deciding that the little house we've got by the mount isn't big enough. We need a challenge, so we bought this massive house on the estuary in Matua, and that's kind of, went along for a few more years in travel, moved to another travel agency, and then really enjoyed being a consultant with a huge client database, but the owners brought in a new partner, and she was just a bit of a bully, and I lasted another 3 months there, and she had it out for me. Even though I was selling massive amount of travel and making them lots of money, she just for some reason didn't like this little bald ginger fool, and it became I didn't want to go to work every day. I was really frustrated, and
negative energy.
Yeah, negative energy, everything. And I was drinking more than I should have, because I was just pissed off that my career was kind of dwindling with that. And I just said, no, you know what? I quit, and told them, and they were like, oh, any chance you could work to the end of the year maybe? And I said, no, as in I'm really quitting. I'm out of here. So yeah, left, and that's how the art career started. I'd been tinkering with sculptures, and I'd been making coffee tables out of pallets. I made 7 coffee tables, and all of a sudden I had 7 coffee tables that I couldn't sell to anyone, because so all family and friends kept getting them. And then the actual artwork and the sculptures started. That was the first thing. So I was walking along the railway close to home, and I saw all these old railway sleepers that had been thrown out, and I thought, shit, I can do something with them. So I wasn't working. I was working at one night of chefing just to get some extra money, and one day landscaping for a friend, and I picked up these railway sleepers, lugged them all home. So one of them was a whole sleeper, so 55 kgs, and I walked with it over my shoulder for a kilometre to get it home. I was absolutely busted the next day, but that's how it started. I had some old copper, polished that up, wrapped them around the sleepers, and people, friends and family saw them. So 7-year wedding anniversary is copper, and they started buying them, and all of a sudden it just took off. All of these people wanted these railway sleeper sculptures with copper embedded in them. Went to the markets, and yeah, that just went from there. It was amazing.
Really? It's time for this episode's Creative Notice Board. The Bright Side is a captivating exhibition of new woodcut prints by Renee Meyer-Lane. The works capture a sense of renewal and hopeful energy, showcasing the New Zealand bush in vibrant colour and inviting detail. Don't miss this exhibition. It sounds amazing. It's at the Mandarin Tree Gallery near Hamilton, and the opening is on May the 10th from 3 p.m, and the exhibition runs until May the 31st. I'd also like to remind you that I am part of the Muriwai Artists Collective Open Studios, which runs from May the 3rd to May the 4th over the weekend, and my studio will be open, so I would really love to see some of you guys in my studio, see where all the action happens for the podcast, and also some of my work. So I hope to see you there, and you can check us out on muriwaiartistcollective.co.nz. Now back to Isaac. And suddenly you thought, hey, maybe I can make a career of this.
Yeah, my wife she's so supportive. You definitely need a supportive partner if you're breaking into the art industry. I think it's one of those things where, to start off with, you need an outlet to sell stuff, and you can make as much art as you want, but if you can't sell it somewhere. So I hear a lot of other artists and people on the podcast have started off in markets and things like that, and that worked really well for me. So she was really supportive. She had still had a full-time job at the time, and she said, just go for it. Let's just see what we can do. So travelled all around Bay of Plenty, Coromandel, Waikato, going to all of these markets every weekend, loading the van up. I had lots of sculptures, like railway sleeper sculptures, mount rounds on metal, and by then I'd started breaking down old hot water cylinders. So that's where I was getting my copper from, and it processed from there. One of the second, third markets that I went to, I unloaded the van, had all the sculptures sort of starting to stand them up, and all of the vendors from the other people in the market came over, and I sold half my van load of stuff before the market had even started, just to the people, because they just said it's so different, they'd never seen it before. So and I was like, oh shit, this is going to work. This is amazing. I'd made, I was 1,000 there, I'd made $2,000. I couldn't believe it. It was just mind-blowing. And
what, sorry to interrupt, just taking you back to those initial things that you made, what was it? Purely just seeing the railway sleepers and getting an idea, or how did you connect with the copper all the way back?
They were really rustic railway sleepers, because they weren't even good enough for the railways to keep, so they just dumped them on the side of the railway, and which meant that they had cracks right through them and bits missing. So I had this copper and just decided, well, wonder if I just embed the copper in it, and where all of the cracks and the broken bits are. And so I chiseled it out, chiseled where the bits were, and then embedded this copper in and nailed it in and varnished it, and that's how it all happened. And then now the designs are totally different. I've come up with since then a core range which is totally different, but some of the original designs are actually the wraparound ones, which I still do. It's just now the copper's embedded, and it's not off on weird angles. It's actually straight off. My eye wasn't quite that good with the skill saw back then. So
and you've developed techniques.
Probably. Totally. Just every day I've created tools, developed techniques that make things easier and work, and that's the fun part. It's problem solving every day. I love it. Yeah.
Modifying and
But that was just the sculptures to start with, so I wasn't doing the
and
other stuff.
What was
now.
The initial connection with copper? Where did that come from?
No, it was literally I just had this hot water cylinder that was under the house, I think, when we bought the house, and I was like, oh, that's pretty cool, and polished it all up and was going to make a bird bath or something out of it, but in the end decided, no, I must be able to do something else. So that's how it started, and then from there on I needed to figure out where to get more copper, so went to all of the plumbers, and some of them were willing to sell me hot water cylinders, others weren't, so I went to the scrap metal guys and I was buying them off them, but paying way too much, but I didn't want to buy new copper. I wanted to upcycle. That was a big part of what I was doing, is having these upcycled railway sleepers, upcycled copper, steel. So it was all, I didn't want to make it easy, but I wanted to have a bit of a challenge. And that was
and
part of it.
And it's honouring the sort of past life it had.
Yeah, absolutely. Like some of the cylinders, I got one from 1920 the other day, which is ancient. It's insane. It had half a foot of sludge in the bottom of it. It was disgusting, but really interesting.
And do people know that you use them and approach you?
Yeah, totally. Like, obviously the Garden Arts Festival we'll talk about later, but 2,600 people come through, and I'll have 20 people a day coming through saying, oh, I've got 5 cylinders at home. Do you want to buy them? I wouldn't mind if you paid $300 or $400 each. And I'm like, I'm not going to pay $400 for your hot water cylinder.
No, God, no.
Yeah, so I've got all of the plumbers in Tauranga now actually know me, and I've been buying them off them for 8 years and paying them, and pay for their beer money. They love it. I even have new ones every couple of weeks that will say, oh, so-and-so told me that you buy hot water cylinders and that you pay, a decent amount for them. Are you keen? And I'm like, yeah, come on by. So, yeah.
That's so good.
Yeah, I buy about 100 cylinders a year.
Really?
So it's quite a achievement.
And do all hot water cylinders have copper inside?
No. So low-pressure hot water cylinders all have copper inside, and even the new low-pressure ones they're making are still copper, but the copper is quite different. It's very thin compared to what it used to be. So the I actually buy the modern ones. I like the modern ones because they're flat sheet inside, whereas the old ones are wrinkly. So to give the hot water cylinder strength, they would put it through a wrinkler, and that would create all of the wrinkles in it, and that would give it strength. And then it would be packed out with wool, and then have a steel structure on the outside. So
Really?
yeah. Whereas the modern ones are thinner copper, so it might be 0.7 mil copper, and then it's got foam sprayed down between that and the steel, and that's where it keeps the strength. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah.
And that's part of the insulation.
Yeah, insulation as well as keeping the copper from buckling out, and yeah, so it's quite a cool thing. But a lot of them fail. Holy, it's insane. Like I'm getting ones that are a couple of years old and they've got holes all through them.
Really?
So yeah, it's pretty crazy. I got one the other week where the builder had just screwed 3 massive screws right through the wall into the cylinder, so that got ripped out straight away in a new build. I'm like, oh, cool.
Oh, that's perfect.
Yeah.
Actually, I've got one on my deck that we had to replace.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it's got copper inside or not.
Probably the age of your house here,
But
I'd say it would be
actually
low pressure. Yeah.
It's actually only probably 20 years old.
Still be low pressure. Probably still be low pressure. I'd say with the water tanks and everything here is usually low pressure.
Oh, well,
yeah.
maybe you can take that
Yeah.
if you've got room in your car.
Journey down to Tauranga and
Yeah.
commission. Yeah.
So you had those initial ideas, and I mean, where did that actual sort of confidence in yourself and your artistic ability come from? It's quite amazing to make that shift.
Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of weird. Like when I first started, as probably a lot of creatives, I just spent hours lying there before going to bed, like 2 hours awake. I couldn't sleep. I had all of these ideas just flooding in, and my wife's like, just write them down. You're never going to go to sleep. So I was doing sketches and drawings, and maybe I can make a letterbox out of copper, and then I can do this. And I had 30 ideas straight away, and I'm lucky I can envision something in 3D. So as soon as I decide I want to make a letterbox, I can lie there and I can create it in my brain. So I would have created it from start to finish, including every different angle over 20, 30 times. So when I actually come to make it, might be later in the week, I've already done it. So to me, I'm like, oh, I've already done this. It's really quite simple.
Yeah.
So I guess I've got a super active brain in that sort of aspect.
Yeah.
Just not a very mathematical brain. In
That's
fact,
okay.
I still use my calculator sometimes when I've got to do a lot of adding and minusing and times. I'm like, oh, this isn't going to work.
Yeah, I can imagine it'd be challenging, but so
Yeah.
good that you've got so many ideas.
Yeah, they keep coming. Now where I am 8 years on, I've got a core range of about 23 products that sell really well. I know that they're going to sell. I know how to create them. So it's not a process. It's a business, as opposed to me creating something new every week. I'm like, oh no, I need to make more whale tails, or do some more square artworks or rectangles. I just had an inquiry then, and the lady is after a rectangle artwork, and I just sold one last week. So I'm like, oh, awesome. I have to make another rectangle artwork.
Yeah.
So I've just said to her, oh no, I don't have one at the moment, but I will in 6 weeks if you're still keen. She goes, oh no, that'll be amazing. So yeah, so that's exciting, is knowing that I've got, and I can be creative. I can do whatever with it.
Yeah.
She hasn't asked for a specific color of patina or anything. So
That's so good.
Yeah.
And so do you feel like you've got this kind of bread and butter stuff that is reliable for actual sales?
Yeah. So everything seems to sell, but there's quite different markets. So I do actually have, so I market myself under Rework It, which is my outdoor sculptures, everything from copper kawakawa leaves to kinna, to whale tails, to giant manta rays. So lots of different things, indoor and outdoor. And then I've got my Weston artist portfolio, where it's all indoor copper work. So giant copper discs on plywood, which have then got the patina added to them, or squares or rectangles, where I make the frames and then wrap the copper around them and then grow the patina on it. So I try to keep them quite separate, just for the galleries. Some of the galleries don't like the more knick-knacky stuff of the kawa leaves or the kinnas. They just think it's maybe a little bit tacky for their gallery. So a lot of the galleries love it because they know it sells straight away.
Yeah, and it's beautiful.
I try to, if I'm ever want to get into a higher end gallery at some stage on Parnell Road or something like that, which eventually it'll happen. I think they just want to see artworks. I don't think they want to see a random kinna or a small whale tail. They actually want to see big, beautiful artworks.
Bespoke.
Exactly. And that's what that is. They are quite different. The people that buy the artworks are from all over and every different age and demographic of wages. It's really cool meeting the people, and I get people that drive up in their brand new Porsche and will ask for a discount on an artwork, and I'll put it into their Porsche and they'll drive away, and then I'll get people that are saving up for it. They love it. They won't ask for a discount, and I'll put it into their old beaten up Range Rover, and so it's pretty cool.
It's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, and great that you have developed quite an extensive range. So some pieces are more accessible than others.
Totally.
Which is it's a good business model, really, isn't it?
Yeah, and some things are easier to make than others. Some things are just painful. I cut everything by hand, so I can only physically do so much. I had to make 7 sets of whale tails the other week, and by the end of the week my hands were stuffed. It was so sore, but I knew I had to get the orders done. So I try to under promise and over deliver. So I'll tell people it'll be 2 or 3 months, and then if I can get it done earlier, then they're always surprised and great. But I don't want to do it the other way, where I'm always fretting, going, shit, I know I've got something to make, and I leave it to the last minute. I can't leave it to the last minute with my artwork because of the patina process. It needs weeks of patinaing to grow the colours, to create the patina, and then the lacquers. So it's a bit of a process.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
And good to take away that sort of stress of, running out of time, which is never fun. Yeah, and I definitely will start to talk about your incredible process shortly. So do you think that it helped you to have a medium like copper as that sort of starting point that helped you kind of then sort of bring in your ideas a little bit and then develop them out again, just using that one main material?
It meant that I didn't have to think about paints or canvases or my small, like how to paint or how to do any techniques like that. I could be more rustic. I could smash and bang the copper. The first cylinder I ever got was wrinkly and I wanted to make it flat, so I spent an hour in the car driving over it in the carport hundreds of times just trying to flatten it out, and realized that actually that didn't quite work as well as I thought. So now I buy certain cylinders for a certain project, but it meant that I could then go, okay, I'm going to start working with metal. This is what I do. I'm a metal artist. And then I could focus on that. So I don't weld. I know you've had a few other metal artists and sculptors on, and they all weld and do all of that. I don't actually weld. It's just something that I haven't bothered looking into. So I cut, I rivet, I clamp, I glue, and that seems to work for me really, really well.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a cool metal to work with. It's exciting.
Yeah.
Because I don't really have as much control as people think.
I love that. It feels like sort of the way an abstract painter might work almost.
Totally, yeah.
You're not exactly sure what you're creating.
No, and at the start, like, I have people that will come down with their pillows off their couch and they'll say, I've just driven down and I bought the pillows. These are the colours that I want. And I'm like, no, I can't do that. Or I can't guarantee that. I have no idea. It might come out blue. It might come out green with splotches of black or burnt orange colours of patina. So I just say to them, look, if there's an artwork here you like, buy that. Because if I create a commission for you and it doesn't turn out, you're buying it.
Yeah.
And you're going to be changing your pillows because that's your only option.
Or you could think, actually, my artwork doesn't have to match my pillows.
Exactly. Yeah, no, I do get some interesting customers that are set on a certain colour and they cannot be swayed. It has to be a certain colour of green, and I'm like, that's just not going to happen. No, I can't. And I can't see any way out of that. They just so focused. I'm like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
I've learned to say no.
Yeah, and it's not the customer you want.
No. And that's it. I'd go, oh, God, they're going to be really hard to deal with. If they're already this picky, then it's going to become a nightmare.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no is, I said yes to everything for the first 3 years. Every project ever offered, I was like, yes. And now I'm like, no. That's not what that's not me. Yeah.
And I guess it's that sort of when you're starting, you just think, oh my God, I'm not sure how this is going to go. I need to say yes to everything.
Yeah, everything, every opportunity. It was, and I guess that's probably a bloody good thing because it got me where I was. I made contacts. I said yes. I went to brunches. I went to every market. I talked to people, and it's kind of how it happens.
Yeah.
And a lot of people that even met me at the first market have come back and bought 4 or 5 different artworks. So it's pretty cool. It's they become repeat customers and go, oh, I've been following you for 6 years on Instagram and I just saw this one and it's finally I'm ready to buy one of your pieces. I'm like, oh my God, that's amazing.
So good.
Yeah.
And it's like you're laying the foundation in a way.
Yeah.
Isn't it? I mean, you just get yourself out there and also that's when you're learning, and problem solving and figuring stuff out when you are exposed to different opportunities.
Totally. Yeah. I've done some cool commissions with some great sculptures where the customers sort of had for one was a huge copper front door that had warped, and they said, do you want to use that for a sculpture? We'll commission you. Otherwise it's going to the dump. I'm like, shit, yeah, I'll take that. So ended up doing 2 giant sails that were 1.8 meters tall and curved concave and the other way? Convex, yeah. And all done with fish scales on them. So all of the scales hand cut and all of them a different patina colour the whole way up. So it was a huge project, but I kind of figured it out while I was standing there talking to her, explaining how much it was going to be because I'd already figured out in my brain how I was going to do it. So she said, so how much is it going to cost? As they want to know straight away before you've even thought of anything else, and you're like, well, it's going to cost this much. She goes, oh yeah, no, that's cool, it's in the budget. And I'm like, I could have gone higher.
I know. I remember that fear. That's happened to me before with various things. Yeah, it's funny, isn't it?
Yeah. But I mean, that worked super well, and it's one of those things it came out exactly how I'd thought about it in that first minute. It was insane. So really exciting to do stuff like that.
That's so exciting. So let's just talk about your process, which is very involved and interesting. I'm dying to hear you talk about it. And then we could perhaps just talk about some of the different types of works that you make.
Yes, yep.
So you're an alchemist, basically.
Yeah, I change the copper to different colours using a natural process. So patina is what I paint with. So instead of using paint, and that's the biggest thing that people come into my gallery and presume it's paint. And so I have this spiel that I do at the Garden Arts Festival. I have about 2,500 people come through the gallery, and I have the same spiel I do for everyone. And they come in and go, wow. And I say, it's actually not paint. There's no paint involved. It's all copper. I use red wine vinegars, Himalayan pink salts, and the crystals grow on the copper, and then the copper changes the colours of the crystal, and the humidity, the temperature, all of those things change what colours will come out. And then depending on what lacquer or varnish I put on will depend on what colours come out. So they might have all come out blue, but if I put a soft varnish on, that will then soak in and it will create these emerald greens and burnt oranges. Or if I want it to stay blue, I put this hard auto lacquer on and that will stay bright luminous blue. So it's a real process, and I'm in touch with copper artists all around the world, which is really cool. And we sort of talk occasionally like, oh shit, it's too hot in Perth at the moment. We can't grow any patina. Our blues aren't coming out, or our greens are real funny, faded. And I wish we had another process. And we all kind of talk, but I think we all keep our processes pretty close to our chest. It's I get asked for my recipe for my blue patina all the time by starting out copper artists or even experienced copper artists from around the world, and New Zealand, lots from New Zealand, and I just say, yeah, no.
Yeah, fair enough.
in a nice, polite way. I'll say, look, you can do this, but I won't actually fully explain how to do it because I've spent so many years playing around, getting it and doing it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And so discovering that part of the process was just experimentation.
Totally. The first ever artwork I did, we landed a massive slot at the Tauranga home show, and we had huge area where we had sculptures all outside, and then in a gazebo we had our first circle artwork I'd done, and I thought, let's go big. So I did 1200 diameter first artwork, and it was massive. And as soon as the gates opened, people came running in, and like all the oldies, and someone walked straight up to it and said, "Oh my God, that's amazing!" And I explained that it's copper, and they said, "Yeah," and the patina, but the colours in that were terrible compared to what they are now. They're totally different. But these people fell in love with it, and it went straight. They were like, "No, we're coming back in half an hour." Got the ute, and they drove it straight up to their home in Whitianga on the waterways, and sent me a photo a couple of hours later, and I'm like, shit. So it's been a long process to get the colours that I have now. They have changed a lot, but it's still a natural process. So even the greens it's literally white vinegar and white wine. There's white vinegar and white salt, sorry. There's nothing else to it. Like it's a real simple process. So on YouTube, there's people that are got chloride of copper and sulfide of that, and they mix all of these things and they spray it on it 7 or 8 times and then dry it. And I'm like, shit, I don't have the patience for that. Yeah, no, I haven't even bothered trying any of that stuff. Yeah.
And when you say, your colours have got better, what do you consider a better colour? What are you looking for? Just
for different things. So the bright luminous blues that I have, and they're absolutely spectacular, like aquamarines, all different blues, and dark blues, cobalt. You can get all of them once they dry out in the sun. They've got all of these amazing speckles that run through them, and those are all the crystals of the salt, and that's what the patina is. And then when I lacquer them, they get even more bright and beautiful, and then they've got to sort of sit for 3 or 4 weeks to balance out a little bit. Otherwise, if I sell things straight away, they do change. So they have about 6 weeks where they change, and I've had customers saying, "No, we want it straight away," and I'm like, "Okay, cool, it's going to change." Like, there's no way of stopping it. It keeps processing, and then it holds once it gets to a certain point. And I've had people going, "Oh wow, we've taken a photo every 2 weeks of it and it's changed so much." And I'm like, "Yeah, that's cool." But I know, like, I'll do a big artwork now and start off blue. Once I've got it out, I've dried it in the sun for 5 days, and the patinas all dried out. Then I'll varnish it, and I'll get this beautiful blue. Then the emerald greens start to come out, and then finally 4 to 5 coats of varnish later, and like 5 weeks later, the burnt oranges will start to come out. And as soon as that happens, I know it's done, it's finished. And
Really?
I can put it in the gallery and sell it without worrying that it's going to change.
So that's the last colour that appears.
That's usually the last, I get the sort of the last coat of varnish I put on. I sand between each coat, and those burnt oranges just kind of pop out at the last. It's crazy. I don't know where they come from, because all of the time it's been this emerald green, and then you put this last coat on and these beautiful burnt oranges sort of pop up and little spots of black, and then it's done. I know
Amazing.
it's finished. Yeah, so
that's such an interesting process.
It's crazy.
And you have to have sunlight.
I need to dry out the crystals. So the patina itself is a wet solution, so soaking the copper in vinegars and salts, and the acid from the vinegar and the salt creates a crystal. So my sort of way of explaining to people at the festival is the Statue of Liberty started off copper, and after 50 years turned green from the acid and the salt in the rain and the atmosphere, whereas I'm doing a forced patina. So it's exactly the same, but lots of salt, lots of vinegar, and that's what's creating the process. So I often smell like salt and vinegar chips. I'll go to the supermarket, and I've been carving railway sleepers, making patina in the afternoon, and covered in salt and vinegar and stinky railway sleeper, and I look terrible. Like, I'll have people avoiding me in the supermarket. They'll walk around me like, God, look at this guy. And I'm like, oh shit, I'm still in my work clothes and my boots and stuff. So yeah, it's so dirty what I do, where I finish in summer, I'm absolutely covered in dust and copper dust and railway sleeper dust that I'll need to get water blasted down to go inside the house.
Really?
I'm not allowed to go in the house. My wife will bring me a cup of tea out in the garden, and that's it. It's like, no, not allowed inside.
Yeah, it's a very physical practice, isn't it? And the actual quantities for vinegar and salts and that kind of thing, is that another thing that you've experimented with?
Yeah, I just do 50-50. So it's a lot of salt, but I've spent at the start of creating, I spent a bit of time over a couple of weeks experimenting with a few, but that all went out the window, and I just kind of went, just throw that at that and throw that at that, and I've got a recipe, well, not a recipe, but I've got a way that I do it now, where I put rags on, and I put vinegar all over it, and then salt all over it. But that's it. There's no I don't really have a recipe as such. I just I know that's going to do that, and that's going to create a green color or a blue color. Yeah. So yeah,
I guess it sort of does connect to your old chefing days, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, red wine vinegar, Himalayan pink salt. So the minerals in the pink salt create different colors as well, so that's cool. Even cider vinegar and white salt will create a different color than white vinegar and white salt. So it's quite cool process.
It's very cool. And the varnishes, was that also part of your learning?
Yeah, totally. I had a pot of lacquer. So one of the first artworks I did, just a tester, because I had a gallery that wanted me to do them for outside. She was really keen, amazing, having them inside. But she's like, look, if you can get these outside, this is going to take off. And so I was like, oh yeah, lacquer will be fine. So I put this hard lacquer on. But when you've got copper and then a layer of patina, which is salt and crystals, and then a lacquer, the lacquer isn't actually touching the copper. It's got this air barrier of crystals in between, and I was like, oh no, hold on a second. So all of these bubbles started appearing, and then you could scratch it with your finger and the whole thing fell off, and I'm like, okay, that's not working. So it took a bit of figuring out and brushing off the salt and trying to brush it off but keep the patina for it to work, to then understand that needed 3 or 4 coatings of this lacquer to seal it in. I know there's a lot of copper artists that use just a spray lacquer, and they do a really thin layer, but it does actually still flake off. So I'd be awake at night thinking that someone's got this big, beautiful artwork and people are walking past, brushing past, and it's flaking off all the time. couldn't do that. Yeah.
no.
So I've kind of developed it where I know that it's going to stay on,
that's
which is cool.
great.
Yeah.
And it's like a polyurethane?
Two different things. So the polyurethane is a marine varnish I use, and it's an Australian brand. The Kiwi brand's crap. Kiwi brand just bubbled and flaked and didn't work, whereas the Aussie brand worked really, really well because it had the UV protection in it as well. And that will bring out the greens and the emerald greens and the burnt oranges, and it's a soft varnish, so it soaks into the crystals, whereas the car lacquer is a hard epoxy lacquer, and that doesn't soak in as much, so it keeps it a luminous blue, so it keeps all the blue patinas. So I use different things. So for my artworks, I'll do a range of sort of my main range that I've always done with the copper drips that go through it, and those are probably the most popular, and a lot of them are with the varnish. But then I'll also do a range where I'll have wrapped round frames, and I'll wrap the copper around them and bash and glue them and clamp them, patina them, put a lacquer on, and then I'll grind the lacquer back, and that gives a different look as well. And they'll bring out different colours. But also I use lacquer for my other products, so my whale tails, my kinners, kawa leaves, earrings, all of that gets a lacquer as well. So yeah, quite different.
Yeah, so interesting.
Lots of fun.
I must just keep you so entertained. You're doing all these different things, and then you're still pushing yourself and experimenting further with other things.
Yeah, my day is so varied. It's so cool. We've got a pretty cool lifestyle. We go for a walk every morning together and just connect and make sure we know what we're doing. And she said, my wife's like, so what are you doing this morning? I think she just wants to make sure I'm not sitting in my workshop on my phone doing nothing or scrolling through Spotify. So she's, what are you doing? And I'll be like, oh, I'm cutting out whale tails first, and then I'm hammering some kinners, and then I've got to clamp an artwork. But I stage my day, so I start off fine and clean, and then I progressively get dirtier and dirtier, and by the end of it I'm carving railway sleepers, and that is just horrible. So full glass mask with breathing, everything. I really try to look after my lungs, so I've got 6 masks that I just rotate through because it's just so dirty.
And that's just from being out by the railways.
No,
for years. Are they all?
It's the railway sleepers. So these ones are old man pine from Australia that came over in the 70s, and they're dipped in creosote. So it's a carcinogenic. It's just disgusting. It smells amazing when I carve it, like with the skill saw. It smells like born of pipe tobacco, so it's definitely bad for you. It's terrible. So I have a full mask on all of the time, just to cover myself for that sort of thing.
And have you experimented again with different types of railway sleepers that work best for you?
I buy a couple of hundred railway sleepers a year direct from the railway now. So I'll rent a truck and drive to Kawerau or Hamilton to the depot, and they'll forklift them in. So they're all the ones that all are softer hardwood, so not the real hardwoods anymore. Totara and stuff we don't get anymore. But I've experimented with people that have wanted a less rustic look, and so I've done pine sleepers and things just from Mitre 10 and Bunnings that are treated pine, and really nice to work with. Man, what a difference to a rustic railway sleeper. They're great, but just for different jobs, depending on what people want. Some people want a stand or a really modern, sleek-looking set of sculptures, so I'll do them that way. But most people actually like the wood and then the black paint and then the shiny copper as a look.
That's so beautiful.
Yeah.
And how do you manage the actual copper? Like you said, sometimes even in your artworks, your indoor artworks, sometimes there's just really shiny, beautiful copper contrasting with, I guess, the patina part. How do you manage the shining of the copper?
So it's that's a big process. So I get it all from the hot water cylinders. So I break down the cylinder. I've actually, over the last few years, I've hired a few different people, and I've got a guy at the moment. He's awesome. He's a legend. He's working part-time mowing lawns, but then also decided something else. He's a customer. Him and his wife came and bought something. So he actually does the shit jobs now. After 8 years, I'm like, you know what? Breaking down cylinders is not my funnest job.
Yeah, that's so good.
So he'll just keep on doing it, and he'll break them down, get the copper out of it, and I'll cut it, flatten it, and then I'll polish it. So I'll use 4 different polishing discs and sanding discs on angle grinders, starting from a really rough 40 grit right through to 120, and then sand it. So, and that's where I get the really shiny copper look. I started off when I was first starting talking to a metal artist a local guy who had 4 angle grinders, and I was like, shit, that's heaps, that's amazing. And he goes, yeah, 4 of them with a different disc on each one. And I'm like, oh, good thinking. And now I'm like, I've got 11 that I use. So I'm like, 4's nothing.
Wow.
So yeah, so it's a huge part of my what I do is angle grinding. So I've got a different disc on each one, so I'm not having to change them all the time, and it's just processing them through. And then depending on what I'm wanting to do with that copper, so I've created a copper sheet, will then go into the workshop under the house, which is a big, long workshop, and I'll either varnish it to keep it shiny and coppery, or I'll lacquer it if it's something else, or it gets cut out, clamped onto the plywood rounds, and then it will eventually get patinaed and turned into an artwork. So yeah, quite a process, but it's fun. It's awesome. And I've in times before I've bought copper sheet in, and it's so easy. It's ridiculous. You just buy the sheet in, cut a circle out, clamp it to the plywood, bang, it's done. Whereas I'm like weeks and weeks away of processing this copper out of the cylinders to get it into an artwork, but it's part of what I do. I love it. Yeah.
You want to keep that stage.
I listen to music, listen to podcasts, and I love it. It's part of it.
That's so good.
Yeah. And it's
so,
my exercise.
Yeah, it would be very physical, I imagine.
It's hugely physical.
And the rounds of wood that you're working on, you get those made? And
No, I do all of that myself. So yeah, I buy the plywood, I go through and I'll shuffle through Bunnings, Mitre 10 or Plyman and get the flattest plywood I can, and it pisses them off because I'll go through the entire shelf of it, and I'll use either 25, 21 or 18 mil ply, and I'll mark out the circles. So again, it was coming up with the technique to make a perfect circle and measuring it. I cut it by hand using a jigsaw, and then once I've clamped the copper to it, I then cut that by hand and then angle grind right around the edges with a sanding disc. So it's perfectly imperfect. Like I'm not wanting perfect, but people are amazed at how perfect the circles are. Yeah. Ovals are the new circles now. Like people are loving them. But me figuring out how to create an oval almost blew my mind. It was insane.
How do you create an oval?
As it is, there's lots of mathematical ways to do it, and that was never going to happen. So I went on to YouTube, and there's this old American guy filming himself in his driveway with trucks and cars going past, and this is how you do it. And you put all of these nails in and a piece of string connecting the nails and a pencil attached to the string, and you whip around and it creates a perfect oval.
Really?
So that's how it happened. And then from there I've taken a template of it, so I don't have to do that every time.
Yeah.
So,
wow. Yeah,
so,
that sounds
where there's a
complex.
will, there's a way. You don't have to use maths for everything.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really quite fascinating. I've got so many questions. So if with the scale one, so we'll have all these examples on your blog post.
Yeah.
But the works with the lots of scales, so it's like a repeated shape.
Yes.
It's very sort of geometric. It makes a beautiful pattern which feels like scales.
Yes.
How do you get that sort of little bit of
copper.
shiny copper around the edge?
So all of the scales are hand cut. Then they are patinaed separately, so each different one. So I've got a big one at the moment in the gallery that's a 1200 diameter artwork. So I've made up to 1600 diameter artwork, so really, really big ones we did for the Block NZ. But now I tend to do 1200 as the biggest. It's just easier and physically easier. I don't need someone else to lift them. But I made every different scale. It all get patinaed separately, so they all come out different colours, like many different artworks. Then they get lacquered. Then the lacquer has to dry for a couple of weeks really, really hard before I can angle grind it. Otherwise, if you angle grind the lacquer, it actually just turns into a paste and goes everywhere, and you're going through $8 sanding discs every 2 minutes, and it becomes a bit crazy. So you've got to wait for it to dry, and you've got 300 mini scales, and each one you're just whipping around the edge with the angle grinder to bring back the copper
Shine.
look of it,
Yeah.
and then lacquering them again. So it's a process, but it's fun.
Yeah.
And then you've got to attach them to the artwork, and that takes a little while. Yeah, quite a while.
I can imagine, because you're creating like a tessellation.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that's really surprising. I thought that you would have done that in one piece and
Yeah,
somehow drawn on.
no, each one's totally separate mini artworks.
So you have to cut so precisely.
Hand cut. Yeah, and like I'll have I'm using for my scale size that I like. I'm using a angle grinding disc, which is 125 mil, which is the perfect size. So I just use one of them because I've got them lying around. So and then they all get attached, and then it gets more lacquer, and then the edges get cut and done, and then it gets clamped, and then it gets more lacquer as well. So yeah, a bit of a process.
That's a big process.
And the thing with the scale artworks, and people see them and go, oh, mermaid or dragon or carp or fish, and I'm like, yep, whatever. Yeah. If you think it's a dragon, it's a dragon. It's whatever. If you're going to buy it, I don't care what you think it is.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't really matter, does it?
But they're twice the weight of a standard artwork. So my artworks are quite heavy anyway. So a normal circle artwork is about 18 to 20 kilos because the copper's thick, the plywood's thick. So it is a process, whereas the scale ones that I use, I'll end up, instead of using a standard couple of sheets of copper or 2 hot water cylinders, I'll actually use 2.5 to 3 hot water cylinders in one artwork, and makes it very heavy.
Yeah.
But
so how do people hang them when it's so
really easy? So I use what's called a French cleat system. So 45-degree angles of plywood cut attached to the back of the artwork, and then they get attached to the wall. So and they sort of suck in, and the gravity pulls it down, so then it doesn't actually move. So it's a really good way. So the one we did for the Block NZ was a 1.6 meter artwork. It weighed 30 kilos, maybe 35, and I got up the ladder. They'd just finished painting the room. That 2 a.m. that morning, I drilled 22 holes in the wall because we couldn't find a stud in the wall.
Oh my
it was
God.
like, oh shit! And they were filming it, and I'm like, oh God, this is gold. And finally, we managed to find a stud, and Connie, one of the ladies, she's like, oh, I just spent the whole night painting that.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh well, I guess you're filling in all those holes.
Yeah.
But that hung that artwork absolutely fine. It's amazing, the French cleat system, how you can hang really heavy artwork. The only issue I have is that a lot of galleries work with a hanging system that has little hooks, and the hooks are too small to go onto the back of the artwork. So a few galleries that I have, I put eye hooks into the back of the artworks, and that works well. Yeah. So
can the hooks on the wire that you see in some galleries, that can hold it?
Yes, yeah. No, their weight, it says some of them are up to 40 kilos. So we haven't tested any of the big ones, but a 900 diameter artwork circle is, I think it's probably only about 8-9 kilos. So it's not crazy, but it's enough that it has some real weight to it and feels real good and solid, which is cool.
Which is part of it, isn't it, really?
Yeah, the kind of like sculptures, I guess the artworks that I have are, they're really sculptural in that respect. Even the ones where I create the frames, the rectangles, I kind of, in my brain, I have a certain depth that looks good with a size, and anything skinnier, I'm like, it's too skinny. It doesn't look very good on the wall. So I'll build out the frames thicker so that they actually stand out more, which is really, and people like that. They'll sort of a 60 or a 50 mil out from the wall. They're like, it's real solid and good and stands out above the fireplace or something. And it
does really feel sculptural, as you said.
Which is cool.
So part of your rework at outdoor sculptures is the beautiful Po.
Yes.
And they are really striking. I would love a collection in my garden.
Yes.
Imagine it.
Absolutely. At least 9.
I'm
thinking. 9. An odd number. Yeah. Quite often people will come and they'll be like, love them. I love just the three main designs that I have are the most popular, and they'll be like, is 3 enough? And I'm like, you want at least 7? And they're like, oh really?
Okay. And they believe me.
Yeah, exactly. They believe me.
That's brilliant. Yeah, I love 3 or 5. I think that'd be great. Imagine them in my little sculpture garden.
I know. That'd be magic.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll put it on my birthday list. But anyway, they are quite gorgeous. Can you tell us the story about how they developed?
Yeah, so I was cutting out, I got commissioned to do a massive garden, and I did some sculptures and hand cut all of the scales and did one that was all in copper scales. It was stunning. Took way too long though. God, it took ages. But all the offcuts from the scales were these kind of little triangles, and I used them on another sculpture. And before that, I wasn't really carving the sculptures, the railway sleepers out. So I thought, maybe if I carved a strip down the middle and then put these in, and I'm like, maybe if I polish the copper and then I paint the back black, it'll just pop and have this amazing color. So did that, looks spectacular, absolutely amazing. And then from there, I was like, it's pretty rustic with these hand-cut triangles. So I bought a little guillotine, and from then on I've cut hundreds of thousands of triangles, and polished them all up, cut the triangles, and I came up with 3 main designs. My wife and I literally were under the house with these sculptures with the middle carved out, painted black, and we were just putting triangles all exactly the same size in different sort of designs, and we came up with one on either side, which we call Journey, which represents the river. Then the next one is Summit, which is triangles on top of each other, and that represents the mountains. And then we've got Reflection, which is triangles either side of each other, and that represents the water. And they've become our main range. Like we have three different sizes, 3 different designs, and quite often people will just buy the set. That's what it is. They love it. And so often that Journey, Summit, Reflection means so much to people. So I've just been through end of a career, and it was a journey. I reached the summit, and now I can reflect. And we're like, cool, that's great. Or our friends got cancer, so we want to buy them something, and Journey, so they'll buy just a sculpture, but quite often they'll come back and say, actually, we bought them one, but we want to buy them the other 2 as well. So so that's kind of our main range of the sculptures, and it really took off. I did used to call them totems, and applied for funding for a big sculpture, for a big installation in one of the sculpture parks up in Tauranga in the Te Puna Quarry, and I was told that I couldn't call them totems as that was cultural appropriation from the American Indians. And I said, but it is a journey, it is a story. And they said no. So I said, cool. So I was going to call them ginger sticks, and then was promptly told that I wasn't allowed to call them ginger sticks because I'm just taking the piss. So I have reverted to calling them sculptures just to make it easy for everyone. But everyone who buys them calls them totems or po whenua. So I just roll with whoever. If whoever's coming in, if they want that, then they can call it whatever they want.
Yeah. It feels like po to me. Which, would that be cultural appropriation if you use that word?
No, but I have zero Maori heritage. My brother-in-law's half Maori, if that works, but I don't think I can get away with that. And I don't need to. The galleries sometimes will present them that way and say these are po or po whenua. I've had one of the elders from Matua Island come over, and she fell in love with them, and she said, "Oh, these are po whenua. The story behind the journey, the river, has the taniwha, the kaitiaki on each corner." And I was like, "Oh, that's amazing and so good to know," but it's not part of my why I did it in my story. Yeah. So I tell that to people that want to hear that and explain it further, but it's not how I got there. So I just say, yeah, no, that's cool. It's a great story. However, it's just not how I got there. So I just kind of keep it easy now. I don't want to ruffle feathers. Yeah. It's so cool because for the Garden Arts Festival, I get every different type of person come through, and I'll have some people that will walk straight up to it and I'll put their hand on it and say, "This is I need this. This is mine. This is great." And other people that will say, "Yep, no, I love this design." Or you get a husband and wife or partners, and one likes one and one likes the other, and I'm like, "Oh shit."
Buy both.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I try. It's like you've got to buy both because you've got to stare at it, not me. It's going to be in your garden for the rest of your life. So if you like that one and he likes that one, or vice versa, you need to make sure that both of you are happy with it. So yeah,
totally. And I just love garden sculptures.
It's so cool,
because they just add to the form and the composition and the shapes and the lines within the natural garden anyway.
And rustic and the especially with the pops of copper is what gets people, is that real shiny copper that I have. I do the triangle ones in the patinas. I do blue and green patina as well, but the shiny copper, I explain to people that at night time, even with a little bit of moonlight, you're still going to get that shine come off it. Or if you have a spotlight, solar spotlight, it just looks spectacular.
Wow.
Just coming out of the decals there, it's just like, wow. So
my God,
really cool.
I need one. And do they not kind of discolor over time?
So the shiny copper's coated with a marine varnish, and the black background is black paint, and it's all got marine varnish over the whole thing. Eventually, depending if they're not facing the sun the entire time, then they'll actually last for years without any maintenance. But if they are baking in the sun all day, then the black part, the paint actually dries out the varnish, so that needs to be varnished every couple of years just to keep it. It's like moisturizer; it just goes on, and all of a sudden it's black and shiny again. So it's perfect. But otherwise, the railway sleepers that are coated in creosote, so they just last, which is cool. But they all come with bases, or you can concrete them in, things like that. So quite a
brilliant.
Yeah,
very good. Well, I'd like to talk to you a little bit about how you approach your practice as an entrepreneur.
Yes.
Which you very much seem like you have that kind of brain.
Yeah.
So you're very good, it seems, in the way that you sort of connect with people and then, somehow get these opportunities to appear in magazines and be on the block New Zealand, as you mentioned, and be part of festivals. And that is a really lovely sort of addition to how you promote and sell your work, away from social media.
Yes.
So how do you approach that, and what advice do you have?
I guess it's one of, we've been so lucky in going to markets, going to Creative Bay of Plenty, going to people and connecting with them and taking advantage of having those community places where you can actually talk and submit your artwork to them and their websites. And a lot of connections have come through things like that, which has been amazing. I mean, and saying yes to everything. Like with my wife's business, where we had a plant business, she was selling indoor plants to people, and one of the people that bought plants is a writer for one of the magazines, and she saw my sculptures and said, "Oh my God, these are amazing! Like, I'd love to tell your story." And that's how we ended up in both NZ House and Garden and NZ Home and Garden. I think they're two different ones. And she presented it to them, and then all of a sudden we 2 years later, so it takes that long sometimes, we ended up in them. So it was just opportunities that came up, and saying yes to everything was my biggest thing. Also, being a bit of a show pony. I'm not, I guess, I'm not a artist that sort of hides away in my workshop listening to music all the time and real moody. I'm always happy, and I go out and I tell people what I do and I talk about it. Even now, you go to dinner party and you've not met somebody and they say, "Oh, what do you do?" And you say, "Artist," and they're like, "Oh," and you almost get this thing that crosses over their face, like, "Oh, you can't be making much money, can't be doing anything, you poor person, like must be on, struggling." And it's like, no, I'm having an awesome time. I love this. This is a great lifestyle. I'm doing this. So yeah, I guess it's just pushing and taking every opportunity, because so many artists don't say yes to something, or they don't want to commercialize their artwork. Whereas I guess I've spent 17 years in sales, so I realize that you do have to talk to humans.
Yeah. And
yeah.
you do, I mean, you must sort of think, "Oh, this range is selling well, I'm going to continue."
Totally.
And
yeah.
it's not like it's selling your soul.
I
to
don't
that.
think I'm selling out. I'm making cool shit that people like and
that you enjoy making.
Yeah, I love it. Like I said, it's so varied. Every day's totally different. And if I want to go surfing in the morning, and then come back and start work at 11 in the morning, then that's cool.
Yeah. Finish
at 5 and go and cook an amazing dinner, obviously, for my wife and I, but also having my wife as part of the business. So we do call it a business. It's not, I'm not just a, artist flaking, not doing much or not getting out there. It's like so much involved. My wife doing all of the social media, contacting the galleries, putting together social posts for the galleries so that they can then promote it. And they're like, "Oh, you're so organized." And I'm like, "I'm not organized at all. My wife is doing all of this."
But isn't that good?
It is huge.
It's good on so many levels.
It is. I speak to, I've made some really good friends that are artists, and they do everything themselves. And I'm like, shit, there's no way I'd be able to do all of that. Even just taking a photo of the artwork and making it not look terrible.
Yeah. That's a skill in itself.
Yeah, exactly.
And so nice that Lara is on site, understands your work so deeply.
Yes.
And is probably just as passionate as you are.
Totally. And every idea I come up with, I run past her, and she's like, "Oh, no, that's fantastic." I just created something last week. I decided I got a drill press and I made kind of like a oval sort of thing, and then drilled holes right through it and hammered it and then presented it. She goes, "Oh, they are a winner. That's awesome." And did a post, and everyone was just like, "Wow, they're amazing." And to me, they're kind of like jewelry for the garden. They look really, really cool. And I'm sure the designs, like look at David Trowbridge lights or something like that, those sort of designs have been done before, but what I'm doing is different.
Yeah.
In the way that it's copper and it's shiny and it's beautiful, or got the patina. So yeah, it's cool. It's
and
fun.
It feels like you've just got a lifetime of potential.
I hope so. I think physically there will become a time where I can't lift a railway sleeper over my shoulder. Like the guy that I've got that works for me, I said, we're lifting railway sleepers and we're moving them down. So it's quite a big property to move a railway sleeper down. And after the first one, he's like, "Shit, that was horrible."
Yeah, I can imagine.
And I'm just like a little workhorse. I just keep doing it. So it's it's my exercise
for a long time. Yeah, it's a very physical practice, as I said. Yeah, and it's lovely that you can get Lara to do that work, and then it allows you to keep making. And then you've got the Isaac Weston Art Gallery, which is part of your beautiful garden.
Yes.
Can you tell us about that?
So it's part of the house. We were lucky. It's a very big house for two people. So no kids running around. We've got this huge property and big house, and we were like, oh, what can we do to sort of get the artwork out there more? So we converted one whole half of the walk-through garage and then a huge deck that goes out and meanders down to the garden, and we turned that into big bright white walls, awesome lighting, really high stud ceiling, and so that's got the indoor artwork, and I can have probably 20 to 30 artworks hanging in it at any one time, so that's quite cool. And then it goes out to the outside gallery, which has got sculptures, but then all of the outdoor artworks, the kinners, the mount rounds, and mountain silhouettes that I do. So they're all kind of a byproduct of the hot water cylinder. I use the tops of the hot water cylinders and then attach the copper onto that. And those I'd created for the cruise industry that is coming into Tauranga, thinking it's going to be massive. Not one cruise passenger has bought one. They all get sold to locals, which is crazy. It's we've got a gallery that represent us in Tauranga, Pahutakawa. It's kind of like a gift shop as well, and she just churns them over, and I'm like, oh, is it cruise people? And she said, nope, it's all locals. All locals that keep buying them. Yeah, it's the amount. And I've done Kapiti and Karioi and Raglan and Rangitoto. So yeah, any silhouette I've managed to do, I just ask the customers to send a photo of what they want, because I realize that Kapiti's got about 20 different directions that you can see it from. So
yeah, unlike Rangitoto, which is
round
and looks the same all the way around.
Totally. And I did for my School C art, one of my panels was all Rangitoto, which was amazing. So to come back to cutting that out in silhouette, and I'm like, I know this in the back of my head easily.
Anyone who grew up on the shore, which I did.
Beautiful,
it's such a landmark.
So cool.
Yeah. All of Auckland really would connect with it.
Well, we were coming back on the ferry from Waiheke on the weekend going, we just live in the most amazing place.
Yeah.
Like, I've been to so many countries around the world and with travel and so many cool spots, but come back here and it's like the Hauriki Gulf's just beautiful.
I know. You probably went past us once.
I know. Yeah, we were on the ferry. You're on a sailboat. So
That's so funny. The little boys, which we took out our grandsons, they, every ferry that went past, they were completely fascinated.
That's so
cool.
we
probably saw you. But it's amazing. I think I've always said this: if the weather in New Zealand was like a European summer, it would be the place in the world to go
totally.
to. For that kind of thing, for sailing and, yacht charters.
Yeah, I guess that's fickle with the sailing. You got to be pretty bloody nice. But see, I love the four seasons. I love winter where you can put on a big hoodie and walk on the beach, and even in the Mount where you're walking on the beach in the middle of winter and there's no one there.
Yeah.
It's insane. Like low tide and you're walking along and you're the only footprints at 11 in the morning in certain parts of the beach, obviously, further along, whereas the Mount's really busy. But that's just so cool. And we holiday in Raglan quite a bit, and it's the same sort of thing. Like we'll walk along that beach and it's just middle of winter, freezing cold. I love it.
I love it too. Yeah. It's just the elements really, isn't it? Being in the elements and having those different seasons for the way you dress and the way you live. And our Muriwai beach is just often deserted. Totally.
And it's so cool. I guess as long as you plan for it, then your day's going to be spectacular.
Totally. And just back to your garden and your art gallery, you do open it and people can come and visit by appointment?
Yes. So the gallery is always open by appointment, and it's not often I can't make it home to open the gallery. If we're out having coffee and somebody rings and says, oh, I wanted to pop in, I'll be like, I'll be there in 20 minutes. Doesn't matter where we are or at lunch, because it's a case of get in there, show them around and explain. So we do then walk people right down through the garden, and we've got a really cool garden with sculptures all the way through it, and that way people can see them in situ. So we always have it set up that way. So where I actually work, so my sculpture, where I carve the railway sleepers, break down the cylinders, overhangs the marshes in Matua. So I've got this spectacular view right out to the water, and my office is just amazing. I just love standing there. I'll sort of stop carving for a little while, stare out at the water, listening to music, and just be like, this is insane. I can't believe this is what I'm doing. Like, I'm covered in dust. I've smashed my thumb or my finger, and I'm like, doesn't matter. I'm not sitting at a desk typing or having any restrictions or sales targets put on me, and it's life-changing.
Oh, it sounds incredible.
Yeah.
It feels like you've designed the absolute best life. You know, you and Lara, and Lara's made choices as well.
Oh, totally. She does other work as well. She does accounts for other people and social media for the Garden Arts Festival. So she's definitely juggling a lot of shit as well as my social media and me. But it's cool.
It's perfect.
Yeah, we did the corporate thing for quite a long time to be able to get where we are now, though. So we couldn't have afforded to do what we're doing now before, and now that we've got to that point, it's just a bit more relaxing, so I can actually relax into it. But as it is, it's taken off, so I'm stoked. Yeah,
it feels like the world's your oyster.
Yes.
Have you ever thought about using or introducing another medium?
Well, I use steel, so I do some pretty cool rust steel artworks as well, but still always incorporate copper into them. I don't know, like I just love what I'm doing. It's so different to what other people are doing. There is somebody that I've seen that's starting to do similar to what I'm doing, and I'm keeping an eye on what she's doing. But
what will you do if you find someone you feel like's copying?
I'll run them over, probably. No, it's hard. I actually did have that with one of the galleries I found in a gallery. A guy was copying me exactly. He'd seen my stuff at one of the markets, taken photos, copied it, and I contacted the gallery and said, look, this is an exact copy. The designs of the sculptures are exactly the same. The triangles, everything is the same. And she said, well, there's not much you can do to stop me from selling it. And I said, I'm pretty sure I can, and ended the conversation there, and had people pop back in a couple of weeks later, and they were actually gone from the front window. So whether she sold them and decided not to do it again, but it wound me up to no end. And the other thing with the Garden Arts Festival, I do have people that come in. This last one, I had a group of guys that came through, and one of them's like, oh yeah, I love your stuff. I saw it once. My wife took photos and I took some video of it, and I've been creating it myself. And I was like, oh yeah, and he goes, yeah, no, it's pretty cool. We're trying to sell it down at the markets down in down on the East Cape, and I'm like, oh, good luck with that. And I was like, I'd prefer you didn't. And he goes, yeah, well, whatever, and just walked away. And I went and told my wife, and Lara's like, what? And I'm like, yeah, but we can't, intellectual property and all of that. It really, there's not too much you can do to chase people down. Like if they don't care, they're not going to stop, which kind of sucks. All I can understand is that my work is so dirty, so dusty, filthy, and hard on the tools that people will try it and just go, oh God, this is horrible, and do something else. Like sometimes I'll use an angle grinder until it just bursts into flames. Like I've been angle grinding, and five hours of angle grinding with different grinders, and one of them will just catch fire. Really? So yeah, or the skill saw. I've got multiple skill saws, and I'll buy a new one and be using it, and then the old one I'll pick it up to go use it, and then it will just go and just burn and burst into flames. So I'm like,
putting them under a lot of pressure.
Yeah, huge amount of pressure.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, that copying thing. I mean, there probably is some sort of copyright thing that you could go through legally, but whether you want to do that.
Whether you do it. And then, like these guys, they just walked away, and I'm like, I don't know who they are. I don't know what they're doing. And I'm like, they're selling at the markets down there, then good luck. But he doesn't look like he's going to actually make a career out of it.
No.
He's a bit of a dick, so
Yeah,
I don't think he's good.
It.
Yeah, I don't think he's good with people, and you still need to be good with people.
That's a big part of it, for what you're doing, for sure. It's lovely that you've got all these different elements to what you do. You've got the dirty stuff in your studio, but then you've got, groups of old ladies coming in to see the garden and look at your work, and so it's so varied. Isn't
No, it is, and that's the cool thing is that I get to meet so many different people, and even say at the Garden Arts Festival is huge for us. When we do have that, is that we've got every different type of person that comes through, and even the guys that are dragged through reluctantly by their wives or partners, and they're like, oh, not another garden. They usually come to ours and go, oh, this is pretty cool. And they see the pipe. So I do what we call the crazy pipe totems, and they'll see them and they're like, oh, these are awesome. And the wife will be like, oh, there's a birthday present, and that's what I say to them. I'm like, just take a photo and birthday presents, he's going to have a birthday once every year. So remember that. And she's like, bloody good thinking. So it's my sales cap does come on, but I'm real subtle about it now. I don't tend to push anything.
But that's handy. It is good to have those skills.
Yes.
And then you also do, we probably need to think about wrapping up. I've still got so many questions. It's such an interesting conversation. But do you also do planters and other things like that?
Yeah. So again, I get so many cylinders a year that I buy that there's kind of these excess copper where I'm like, I don't want to use that for an artwork. So I'll cut them in half and just do massive planters, or like one of the byproducts is the kinners that I'm doing, and they're the heads of the cylinders. And I was taking them all to the scrap metal guys and getting a van full of copper. I was getting $1,000 cash, and I was like, this is amazing. And I was like, there must be something I can do. So now we do them, we drill them with the drill press, and each kinner will get 380 drill holes put in them. So you're going up, stepping up the actual drill bit. So it's quite a long process, but they're not going to the scrappies anymore. They're actually getting used and sold as art. And they're one of our easiest, biggest sellers. Like all of the galleries love them. They're super popular. So
that's brilliant.
Yeah.
Oh, nice to be able to use most of the
the
product.
Yeah, even the earrings. I do have to throw some copper away because I just can't be bothered making earrings all the time. But if I really wanted to, I could use every bit of the cylinder. But now I'm like, no.
Yeah.
Okay.
You need time.
Yeah,
and
time.
Just let's talk a little bit about your galleries.
Yes.
So the Mandarin Tree, it was Claudia Alderink who recommended I speak with you.
Thank you.
So
she's amazing. She calls me her little brother to another mother. Her and her daughter are both tall, gorgeous ginger specimens, and I'm like the short dwarf of the family.
with the ginger.
Exactly, with the ginger. So I had a really cool little exhibition with Claudia just before Christmas, actually, which is really nice. Our work complements each other so well.
Show.
Yeah, we actually did a half artwork, which I'd never done before and she'd never done, and she did one half of the circle and I did the other, and both in the matte black. So she did her charred black and I did black patina, which comes from inside the hot water cylinders after 20 years. You get this amazing black patina, and out of 100 cylinders I'll only get 2 or 3 that have that colour, and it's spectacular. So
I wondered about the black.
No, it's really striking, but I need to be there to explain it to people so they understand, because it's just black paint, and I'm like, no, it's not. It's so exciting.
And that's such a beautiful process how it's developed over the years.
No, it's really cool.
I love that combined sort of collaborative artwork.
So cool.
And the work just really
complemented
each other.
Yeah.
So Claudia, at the Mandarin Tree, you have work there.
Yep.
And what other galleries are you in?
So I've got Aura Gallery in Wellington. So Marissa's got my stuff there. She does really well. She'll sell everything from the sculptures to the artworks, and I'll just, because I've got family down there, I'll drive down and make sure I pop in and drop new stuff off. I've got Next Door Gallery up in Birkenhead, and I just dropped some stuff off to her yesterday with some new artworks because she sold the other ones. Raglan, I've got Kanuka, and then People's Artists at Work Gallery. ZU, I've got some stuff, and then Coromandel, I've got lawnmowers and Basque. So yeah, quite a lot in the North Island that do really, really well.
And I can imagine your work would go beautifully down in Queenstown. And
I know.
Wanaka.
I do need to break into the South Island. There's a couple of ones in Matua, Nelson, Queenstown that I'd love to go and visit and sort of touch base. But again, it's one of those things of making contact with the gallery first, putting my portfolio to them before I just rock up with my van full of sculptures and artworks. I've known not to do that anymore.
Yeah.
It's not how you approach a gallery.
You must be really good at that from the experiences that you've had in your other two careers.
Yeah, I guess presenting yourself and being upbeat and positive and confident in your work. That's the biggest thing, is actually being confident in it. So when I do go to galleries, but I always contact them first now. I don't just rock up. I've been and done that and know now that they'll get 6 people a day coming in saying, I'm an artist, do you want to see my work? And they're like, oh, sure.
Yeah.
So
yeah. That's a good way to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Brilliant. And this episode is very kindly sponsored by Claudia from the Mandarin Tree.
Oh, no way.
Yes.
Awesome.
Which is really kind.
Thanks,
and generous.
Claudia. That's amazing.
Yeah. So I could talk to you for another 2 hours,
Yeah.
but let's get to the questions. What would you say is the most challenging aspect of being an artist?
I hear so many people say the same thing. It's the imposter syndrome, but quite often it is. It's going, shit, am I really doing this? Am I actually an artist? When I go to other galleries or go to other artists, can I tell them that I'm an artist, or am I just tinkering around? But I think getting over that now, I'm like, nah, I'm out there. I'm an artist. This is what I do. I make a really, really good living out of it. So it's great. And I try not to show off, but I like people to know that I'm actually successful, other artists, and that helps other artists as well. So I think, getting over that was the biggest thing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good that you got over that. Put that behind you.
Yes.
And what would you say to somebody starting their artistic career?
Try and make as many connections as possible to start with. I mean, that's the biggest thing that helped me. Was every community usually has a art trail or a creative government or agency that can actually help. So get your name out there, go meet them, talk to them, ask about how you're supposed to promote yourself, and they have people that are paid to actually come and help you, and go to the lunches and talk to other artists, because you never know, 4 years down the track, 2 years down the track, something might pop up and someone's like, oh, did you want to come and do an exhibition, or did you want to do that? And it's like, yeah, absolutely. So yeah, it is, networking is a huge thing. Yeah, don't just hide away.
Yeah, it's really important. It's not always easy though for many artists.
No, that's the hardest thing, is getting out there and not standing in the corner with a cold drink and just watching other people. It's like, no, go up and introduce yourself to those people. And
even though, I mean, some artists feel like if they have a gallery, then the gallerists will do that job for them.
Yeah, shit, no, you've got to work with your galleries and like the posts and promote them and share this and put a story on and tell people that you're going to be there and that you are there and you've dropped off artwork. All of that helps, and it helps the gallery as well.
Yeah.
Someone might be waiting just for that one piece to arrive and seeing a post that you've done or the gallery's done, going, oh, that's what I've been waiting for. I love it. That's great. Yeah. I've had pieces sent down to a gallery and it's sold within 3 days because it's exactly what someone was waiting for.
Yeah, so, and that's the thing. They've been watching.
Watching and waiting.
It's not like just a random thing often. It's like, okay, that's the one.
Yeah, they're not willing to drive 9 hours or 8 hours to Tauranga, but they are waiting for their gallery to have a piece. So,
So good. Yeah. All right, well, we are going to wrap up. As I just said to you, I could speak to you for a few more hours because you do have a very varied art practice, and then a really interesting approach to business and making a living through your art, which is so positive and inspiring.
Thank you.
So thank you very much for coming on the Creative Matters podcast, Isaac. It's been so lovely to meet you. And I can't wait to see your garden. I'm definitely going to come down.
You've definitely got to come to visit. Yeah. Thank you so much for having me and inviting me. It's absolutely amazing. Like I said, I've started listening to podcasts now because I'm a newbie to it, and it's just been so inspiring. The people you interview are amazing, and listening to their stories, it's so cool. Inspired me more, which is great.
That's great to hear. Yeah, thank you. And I'm sure people listening will feel super inspired by your story. So thank you so much.